Good day. So just to demonstrate how a couple of the past paper questions would look, we're looking at May 2010 first. And as you can see, we have two parallel lines and we have two lines this time because the diagrams could look different ways. And they will tell you about the question in the body of the question as well. The diagram not drawn to scale, meaning I can't take my protractor and measure these and get the answer. We have two straight lines, PQ and RS intersecting a pair of parallel lines TU and VW, and we want to determine, given reasons for each of your answers, the value of X and Y. We're going to see a different way they can mark off the angles in the next example. So one of the first things you should always look for when you have parallel lines is to see if you see some kind of Z shape. In this case, the Z shape works out well because I'm just going to highlight it a little bit here, and you have to train your eyes to see it. So one of the first things you should look for as soon as you see any parallel lines, do I have that Z shape, and if that Z shape is a part of my question. And in this question it is, because the rule is alternate angles means on opposite side at this line here. So this line and this angle and this angle are going to be the same, because if here's 54 degrees, the rule says that once in the arms of the Z or on alternate sides, opposite sides at this line, these two angles are going to be equal. So we finished X already. See how easy it was once you know your rules. And again, this was given a reason. You see how they're asking for your reason? The reason is those two angles, X and 54, will alternate. The next one, to get Y, you have different ways you could get Y. One of the easiest ways to get Y again is if you notice it. Again, it have different ways. I could do the long way and I could do the short way. If I was going to do the short way, what I notice is 115 and Y on the inside of the parallel lines, if you notice. And since they're on the inside of the parallel lines, this is the 115 here. Well, he's extra, but this is the piece we're really looking at. Here going to be Y. The rule for interior angles is these two angles not equal, but they're going to total 180. So if he put up 115, he's going to put the rest. 180 take away 115. So my answer going to be 65 degrees when you work that out. Now if I didn't notice that, I could work around it. As I said, I used interior because I noticed it was interior angles. But what else you could have used was, if I know here's 115, then that means here's 65. Because angles on a straight line add up to 180, so 180 take away 115. And then I could use either the back to front Z, meaning because I have this situation. Now remember, the Z could look different ways, meaning here and here are going to be the same, so it will turn out to be a situation with alternate again. Or I could add up these two. This is the really long way to do it now. And if I was to add up these two, I'm going to get 119. So that means this angle I have to put up the rest. 180 take away 119. 61, and because these two lines intersecting, we have opposite angles, meaning here going to be 61 at 54, 119, and when you take that, you're still going to get 115, and when you take that, you're still going to get the 65. Also, I could have found out here was 65 as well if I had used the half a circle here, and then we have corresponding angles. So it's really whatever you see, however you get that 115. Let me look at the next one. The next one I want to look at a little bit different in the sense that how they mention the question. So let me look at this one here. May 2006, an older one, but still good. So here they tell us we have a quadrilateral, meaning a four-sided shape, KLMN, but they really split it, LM, LN equals to give me KLM. So we really split it into two isosceles triangles, if you notice. This is my first isosceles triangle here, these two sides equal, and this is my second isosceles triangle here, those two sides equal. And they tell me KLM. So what the three letters mean, which is really I want to look at, this really means angle. So that symbol there means angle. So it's a different way to write it. They won't always have X and Y to mark the spot, like in the last question. They could use three letters for angles, two letters for length. So LM is the distance from L to M, LN is the distance from L to N, and I tell you those two equal LK. Those are the distances. But for angles, they'll use three letters. So angle KLM, you trace it out in the same order that they give you, and whatever falls in the middle of these three letters, that's going to be an angle. So angle K to L to M, meaning this big angle here, because that's the shape that we form. This big angle here, that's 140. So this piece alone here is now 140. This whole thing here comprising these two angles is 140. And angle LKN, and again I trace it out LKN. I don't have to physically trace it out. You could just either watch it with your eyes or just trace it out with your fingers just to see what the angle gonna look like. But the more you do, the easier to be to trace out with your eyes. So the first thing I want is angle LNK. So when I'm looking at these parts here, if I want angle LNK, L to N to K, so I'm forming this shape here, L to N to K. So this is the angle that I want. Now remember we said this is isosceles triangle and we could see it. And in an isosceles triangle, opposite the equal sides, the angle is going to be equal. So if opposite this side is 40, opposite this side also going to be 40, and I get my first answer. So that's the answer for the first part, 40 degrees. For the second part, and again that was the angles in the isosceles triangle, opposite the equal sides. Angle NLM. So angle NLM means I want this part here. Now we already know this whole thing is 140, so if I could figure out this piece of the angle, then I just subtract from 140 to get this piece. So far we know this is 40 and this is 40. A triangle have to add up to 180. So he putting up 40, he putting up 40. So far both of them put up 80 degrees. How much more to make 180? 180 take away 80. So this part here going to be 100 degrees. And if the whole big piece is 140 and he putting up 100, then he has to put up the remainder, because 100 plus 40 is 140. And they can show you working along the way. The nice thing about the new questions is you're writing on the paper itself, unlike before we used to write on separate pages. So they can see you working and your reasoning as you go along. Last part is angle KNM. So let's trace it out again. K to N to M means I want this big angle. It's not one angle, if you notice this time. So that means I need to get this angle here. Now I don't have this angle yet. I have this piece. Both of them will have to add up. Is our next isosceles, you notice, meaning opposite this angle and opposite this angle going to be equal. So if here's 40, both of them together have to put up the rest, because it's isosceles. How much is the rest they have to put up? 180 take away 40 to complete the triangle will be 140. And since they're putting up the exact same amount, meaning it's going to split the value equally because both of them equal, I just cut 140 in half. So 70, 70, 40. And just to double check, make sure it's add up to 180. 70 at 70 is 140. 140 at the 40 that was there before, 180. And I still not finished. I need to get this angle here, which again comprises of two pieces, which is 40 degrees plus 70 degrees, 110 degrees. And that was just to show you how the three letters represent angles, and this symbol as well represents angles.